In a world consumed by noise, movement, and an endless pursuit of more, we often forget the power of stillness. Society glorifies the hustler, the one who rises early, grinds late, and never stops chasing the next milestone. Success has been redefined as visibility. If you're not seen, you're assumed to be stagnant. But what if the opposite were true? What if the man who chooses silence over applause, depth over attention, and home over hustle is the one who has truly mastered himself? In a culture addicted to validation, the homebody man is a quiet rebellion. He doesn't crave the noise of the world because he's found something more valuable: peace. His mornings aren't dictated by the stress of traffic or the need to impress a boss. Instead, they begin with reflection, stillness, and sometimes creation. While others chase opportunities outside, he cultivates them within. His solitude isn't loneliness, it's clarity. In that quiet, he hears the things others drown out: his thoughts, his values, his truth. The world calls it isolation. He calls it alignment. The homebody man isn't lazy or withdrawn. He's selective. He doesn't waste energy on shallow interactions or superficial ambitions. Every choice he makes is intentional. Every friendship meaningful. Every pursuit rooted in purpose. While the crowd seeks dopamine from likes and attention, he builds a life that doesn't need applause to feel complete. He understands that fulfillment isn't measured by how loud you are, but by how centered you feel when no one's watching. There's a certain mystery about such men, those who find contentment in quiet spaces. They move slower, but they move with precision. They don't broadcast every success, yet their inner world thrives with discipline, creativity, and calm. Their home becomes their kingdom, not a cage, a place where their thoughts evolve and their energy renews. They read, think, build, and plan, while the rest of the world burns out chasing validation. In solitude, they prepare not for recognition, but for mastery. And that's the paradox. The man who stays home, away from the crowd, often understands the world more deeply than those constantly in it. He sees patterns, understands people, and navigates life with quiet confidence. His peace intimidates those who can't sit alone with their thoughts. Stillness is a mirror to a restless world. So when you hear homebody, don't picture weakness or withdrawal. Picture a man who discovered the art of self-governance, who knows that solitude sharpens the mind and silence strengthens the soul. In his calm lies unshakable power, and in his solitude, a rare kind of freedom. Because in a world that never stops running, the man who can sit still and feel whole has already won. Contrarian and value proposition in a culture that worships visibility, where success is measured by how loudly you can announce your achievements. There exists a quieter, more grounded kind of power. The homebody man, often misunderstood, underestimated, or dismissed, lives outside the mainstream current of hustle and hypersocial ambition. But what if this calm, inward-focused lifestyle wasn't a sign of retreat, but a strategic form of mastery? What if the man who doesn't crave the spotlight has, in fact, discovered a richer, more stable source of fulfillment? We've been conditioned to believe that extroversion equals success. From childhood, we're taught to speak up, network, get out there, and sell ourselves. Corporate culture rewards visibility more than value, and social media has turned performance into a lifestyle. But the homebody man, the one who finds comfort in solitude, who prefers the slow rhythm of personal space over the noise of crowds, defies this narrative. He's not running from the world. He's redefining what power looks like in it. The first misconception that must be shattered is that solitude is synonymous with weakness. In reality, solitude is a forge. It's where clarity forms, where distractions dissolve, and where genuine thought takes root. The homebody man knows that productivity doesn't always mean movement. Sometimes it means stillness. He invests in his mind like others invest in image. While others fill their calendars, he fills his thoughts. In the quiet, he refines ideas, builds discipline, and reconnects with what actually matters. His solitude is not avoidance, it's cultivation. This inward life gives rise to something our culture often overlooks: asterisk, asterisk, depth, asterisk, asterisk. Extroverted ambition thrives on momentum, constant motion, endless interaction, perpetual stimulation, but depth requires quiet. It requires the patience to sit with discomfort, to explore your own thoughts, to see where your emotions and convictions truly come from. The homebody man's power comes from this depth. He doesn't just react, he contemplates. He doesn't seek approval, he seeks understanding. When he acts, it's not out of impulse or social pressure, it's deliberate, grounded, and powerful. This is where the value proposition of solitude reveals itself. In a world that's always on, those who master the art of being off gain an extraordinary advantage. The homebody man learns to regulate his energy, control his attention, and protect his emotional bandwidth. These are superpowers in an age of distraction. While most people are mentally scattered, he is composed. While others burn out, he's replenished. And that's why when he steps into the world, when he chooses to engage, he does so with precision and force. His energy isn't diluted, it's directed. But it's not just about energy or focus. It's about asterisk identity, asterisk. In solitude, the homebody man isn't bombarded by competing narratives about who he should be. He doesn't define himself through comparison. He learns to know himself, his strengths, his values, his pace. This self-knowledge gives him something external validation never can. Authenticity, he's not living to impress, he's living in alignment. And this authenticity, paradoxically, makes him magnetic. People can sense when a man's confidence comes from within rather than applause. It's quieter, but infinitely more powerful. There's also a philosophical dimension to this lifestyle, a recognition that constant outward striving often leads to emptiness. Many chase external goals, believing they'll find peace at the finish line, only to discover that the noise never ends. The homebody man reverses this formula. He begins with peace, and from that stillness, he builds outward. His fulfillment doesn't depend on circumstance. It's self-generated. He doesn't need to prove his worth because he's already living it. In that sense, his life becomes an act of quiet resistance against a culture that equates visibility with value. Of course, this isn't to romanticize isolation. The homebody man isn't antisocial or indifferent to human connection. He values it deeply, but selectively. He doesn't seek crowds, he seeks kindred spirits. His relationships aren't based on convenience, but resonance. Because he's not desperate for company, he attracts authenticity. When he speaks, he listens to. When he commits, it's sincere. His solitude doesn't make him cold, it makes him discerning. He gives meaning to presence, and that makes his presence meaningful. The world often mistakes this for withdrawal, but it's actually wisdom. The homebody man understands that energy is finite, and what you feed grows. He chooses to feed his mind, his creativity, his inner peace. His home becomes not a hiding place, but a sanctuary, a place where he can read, build, write, learn, and create without interruption. He's the writer drafting worlds from his desk, the thinker connecting ideas over coffee, the craftsman refining skill in silence. His world may be smaller in appearance, but it's infinitely richer in substance. And that's the great paradox. A quiet life can be vast. Because when you stop measuring success by how loudly you live, you start noticing the subtler, more profound victories, the satisfaction of completing a project no one else sees. The joy of creating something that exists simply because it should, not because it earns attention. These aren't small moments, they're sacred. They're the foundation of a stable, meaningful life. The homebody man's journey also reveals a powerful truth about control. External environments are chaotic, economies shift, people disappoint, trends change. The one realm you can truly govern is internal, by mastering his environment, his home, his habits, his thoughts. The homebody man reclaims control in a world designed to scatter it. He doesn't chase stability, he builds it. And in doing so, he becomes antifragile, stronger with every solitude, calmer with every storm. Many of history's greatest minds lived this way. Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, Henry David Thoreau, all men who embraced solitude as a creative incubator. They understood that brilliance doesn't emerge from noise, but from focus. The same principle applies today. Whether you're building a business, writing a book, or just learning to understand yourself, solitude is the crucible of insight. The homebody man intuitively knows this. He doesn't need the validation of constant motion because he's witnessed what stillness can produce. But modern society resists this truth because stillness threatens its economy. When you stop chasing, you stop consuming. When you stop seeking approval, Advertising loses power. When you stop needing to be seen, you become ungovernable. The Homebody Man's quiet defiance exposes the fragility of a system built on distraction. He's proof that peace is possible without products, that fulfillment doesn't require performance, and that meaning can be found in the simplest acts: reading a book, tending to a garden, creating something with your hands. His life, then, is not small, it's sovereign. It's not a withdrawal from the world, but a reclaiming of it on his own terms. He doesn't live to escape, he lives to engage consciously. Every moment at home is an investment in his strength, creativity, and autonomy. Being a homebody isn't about staying in, it's about staying asterisk within asterisk. And that inner world, when cultivated, can produce more clarity, more creativity, and more strength than the loudest stages ever could. Do you ever feel most alive when the world goes quiet? When you re-alone in your own space, doing what you love, without the pressure to impress anyone? In the noise, the crowds, the constant movement. What if it's your greatest advantage? The place where your mind sharpens, your creativity blooms, and your strength grows deeper than most people ever realize. This isn't just about being introverted. It's about unlocking a form of power that modern culture constantly overlooks: the power of self-possession. The Homebody Man doesn't reject the world. He simply chooses when and how to engage with it. He doesn't need to chase stimulation because his fulfillment is self-generated. He knows that peace isn't something you find by escaping life. It is something you build through intention, reflection, and inner strength. Think about it. Every time you close the door behind you after a long day, something shifts. The noise fades. The expectations disappear. The social masks drop. What remains is you, unfiltered, unpressured, real. That's the moment where clarity begins. While most people scramble from one obligation to another, constantly seeking external affirmation, the Homebody Man turns inward and starts asking the questions that actually matter. Asterisk. What do I value? What do I want to create? Who am I when no one's watching? Asterisk. These aren't small questions. They're the foundation of identity. And answering them requires something the outside world doesn't often give: space. Space to think, to feel, to grow. Society celebrates visibility and noise, but silence is where understanding happens. He doesn't rush to fill it with distractions or meaningless chatter. Instead, he listens to it, and in that listening, he learns more about himself than most people ever will. One of the greatest benefits of this lifestyle is resilience. The man who learns to be at peace in his own company becomes emotionally unshakable. He doesn't depend on constant entertainment, validation, or company to feel complete. He knows how to generate stability from within. When life throws uncertainty his way, layoffs, relationship shifts, financial setbacks, he doesn't collapse because he's already spent years mastering the art of being centered. While others panic in silence, he has learned to breathe through it. His solitude isn't a void, it's a fortress. And this resilience breeds something equally powerful. Creativity, Solitude is fertile ground for imagination. It's in the quiet hours, without distraction, that great ideas take shape. The Homebody Man sees patterns others miss because his mind isn't overloaded by constant input. He can sit in stillness long enough for intuition to emerge, that rare internal spark that drives innovation and insight. History proves this pattern. Some of the greatest thinkers, inventors, and writers were homebodies by nature. Isaac Newton discovered the laws of gravity while isolated on his family farm. Nikola Tesla's breakthroughs came during years of quiet experimentation. Creative clarity rarely comes from noise, it comes from calm. When you stop moving for the sake of movement, your mind starts to expand inward. That's the hidden beauty of the homebody life. It turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. You start realizing that depth matters more than volume, and that true satisfaction comes not from more asterisk, but from asterisk meaning asterisk. Another overlooked strength of homebody men is self-awareness, constant socializing can blur your identity. You adapt, you perform, you become what people expect. But solitude strips away performance. When you're alone, you meet the raw version of yourself, your fears, your desires, your habits. At first, this can be uncomfortable, but over time, it becomes empowering. You begin to understand your triggers, your strengths, your emotional rhythms. You learn how to recharge, how to protect your energy, how to channel it toward what truly fulfills you. And once you've mastered that, no one can manipulate you. No one can tell you what you need to be happy because you already know. You've spent enough quiet hours exploring your inner landscape to trust your own compass. That's what makes the homebody man quietly formidable. His stability isn't borrowed. It's built. But let us be honest, being this kind of man, always easy in a world that confuses noise with success. You'll be told you're missing out, too reserved or antisocial. People might mistake your calm for weakness or your silence for apathy, yet none of that matters because your strength doesn't need to be seen to exist. The oak tree doesn't shout its power. It simply stands rooted, grounded, enduring. That's the energy of the homebody man. And here's the irony. The very traits society overlooks, patience, introspection, emotional discipline, are the ones that create long-term success. The man who can sit alone without distraction can also think clearly in crisis. The one who doesn't chase approval can make bold decisions without fear. The one who values peace can build stable relationships because he doesn't confuse love with dependency. His solitude trains him for life, not to escape it, but to move through it with strength and awareness. Let's talk about relationships, for a moment, because this is where the homebody man's nature often shines. While many chase constant attention or fear being alone, he understands the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the absence of connection. Solitude is the presence of self. He doesn't need someone to fill his emptiness, he shares his wholeness. That's why when he loves deeply. His relationships are rooted in respect, not need. He brings calm instead of chaos, listening instead of talking over. He creates safety, emotional, mental, spiritual, because he's already built it within himself. Most people live in reaction, reacting to trends, opinions, crises. The homebody man, however, lives by intention. His days have rhythm, not rush. He reads, reflects, builds often quietly, often without recognition. But the results of his way of life are profound. His mental health is stronger, his purpose is clearer, his joy is steadier. Of course, this doesn't mean he avoids the world entirely. He knows when to step out, when to connect, when to lead. But he does so from a place of overflow, not emptiness. He doesn't seek experiences to fill a void. He seeks them to expand his already rich inner life. That's the difference between escape and empowerment. A homebody man doesn't retreat from the world, he recharges so he can meet it on his own terms. And here, as the most liberating realization, you, Dan T, need to change who you are to live fully. You don't need to force yourself into the spotlight or apologize for enjoying solitude. You, Dan T, need to feel guilty for saying no to plans that drain you or yes to nights that restore you. The world glorifies extroversion, but that doesn't mean your calmness is a flaw, it's your edge. While others burn themselves out trying to keep up, you're cultivating longevity. You're investing in clarity, focus, and inner peace, things no one can take from you. This lifestyle also has a practical, almost tactical, advantage in modern times. We live in an economy of attention. Everything and everyone is competing for your focus. He decides what enters his mind, what influences his mood, what deserves his time. That discipline translates into real-world results: more learning, better decision-making, stronger emotional control. He's not at the mercy of the algorithm. He's mastering his own rhythm, and that's where the transformation happens. Because the man who knows how to be alone doesn't just survive, he thrives. He turns solitude into strategy. He uses his environment not as a shield, but as a workshop, a place to build himself. His home becomes a reflection of his mind, clean, intentional, alive with purpose. Every book on the shelf, every habit in his routine, every moment of silence becomes part of his evolution. He's not hiding, he's sharpening. The homebodied man doesn't measure life by distance traveled, but by depth gained. Every quiet morning, every focused evening, every moment of solitude is a brick in the foundation of something powerful. A man who knows himself, values his peace, and moves with deliberate strength. Because at the end of the day, fulfillment doesn't come from how many people see you, but from how deeply you see yourself. And sometimes, the most meaningful life isn't the one lived in constant motion. It's the one built in stillness with purpose, intention, and presence. So, if you ever felt that your quiet nature made you less, know this: not missing out. You're tuning in, you're not falling behind, you're building differently, you're not avoiding life. You're mastering it, one peaceful, powerful, intentional moment at a time.